apparently spiraling as her Hollywood dreams come crashing down, and everyone in the industry essentially turns against her. The Kardashians, the Bezoses, the Sarandoses. No one is really a fan of Harry, and especially Meghan. And this is not a surprise at all. And it's not a surprise that Meghan Markle might be spiraling after every single business venture she has tried has essentially failed. And it comes down to really one simple thing: Meghan Markle just doesn't.
The biggest fashion houses that Meghan Markle has been trying to connect with for the last 6 years already have their royal style figures in place, and those positions are not empty or waiting for her to step in. Chanel already works closely with Charlotte Casiraghi, who is the granddaughter of Grace Kelly and the daughter of Princess Caroline of Monaco. She grew up inside very high-level European elite circles, and her family connections go far beyond normal celebrity life. Karl Lagerfeld was said to be very close to her family, and he met Caroline's children when they were very young. Charlotte's name was even written in his will, which shows how strong that bond was. In luxury fashion, this kind of connection has a lot of importance. Dior already works with Beatrice Borromeo, who married Pierre Casiraghi, the son of Princess Caroline.
Gone, I think, the way Meghan hoped and envisioned it would. And of course, anybody starting a business, anybody going in a different direction is going to have a moment where you're thinking everything's coming together and it's just not, something falls through. And that is a feeling of frustration. But Meghan's issues are not that. It's not that, let's say, things are failing because of outside factors or that a shipment didn't come in or something like that. It's a result of a series of catastrophically bad.
Beatrice also comes from a very old Italian noble family with a long history linked to European culture and influence. This kind of background matters a lot for luxury fashion brands because they care about legacy, image, and old money status. Other high fashion houses have similar situations with women like Cleopatra of Liechtenstein, who is connected to powerful European noble families and long royal traditions. This is what Brittany from Royal News Network was talking about when she commented on the Daily Mail Boss-Off report. The problem is not just about ambition or attention. It is about how the system already works. These fashion ambassador roles have been filled for many years, sometimes even for decades, by women who already have strong aristocratic backgrounds and deep connections in the luxury fashion world of Europe. Meghan is trying to enter a space where people already have long-term positions. Meghan clearly has ambition and drive, and nobody is questioning that. But according to this view, what she does not have is a natural or traditional place inside the existing high fashion structure. These brands are not actively looking for new people because those roles are already held by women whose families, royal history, and long-term brand relationships are already established. Charlotte Casiraghi sometimes wears Chanel outfits that critics do not always like, but her family name keeps her strongly connected to the brand. Beatrice Borromeo also has Dior appearances that receive mixed opinions. Still, her position in that world remains secure. This is the main issue Meghan reportedly keeps facing again and again.
A decade now at this point. Bad business decision to marry Prince Harry. I think she should have dated him, dumped him, and then leveraged that relationship and publicity to greater roles rather than actually marrying him, going under the international public spotlight, abusing her time in the royal family, then abusing them after she left the royal family, and jumping from project to project to project with no follow through, no real achievements to speak of, and just an endless series of gripes and victimhood that have really.
These luxury fashion houses simply do not need replacements, and the women already holding these roles are not planning to leave anytime soon. Anna Wintour has long been seen as one of the most powerful people in fashion, someone who can open doors with one decision or close them completely. Reports have claimed that the door has become closed for Meghan Markle after ongoing industry complaints, saying she allegedly did not pay for certain clothing items or did not return them. Whether people believe those claims or not, such stories spread quickly inside elite fashion circles, and insiders continue talking once a reputation begins forming. The bigger issue, according to Britain's analysis, was the strategy behind Meghan's Vogue connections. A smarter approach would have been to stay friendly with both sides of the Vogue world instead of appearing too closely connected to only one group. In 2019, Meghan worked with Edward Enninful on the Forces for Change British Vogue issue, and that collaboration received a lot of attention. But at the same time, keeping a strong relationship with Anna Wintour and American Vogue would have left more opportunities open in the fashion industry. Wintour and Enninful were seen as rivals in the magazine world, but many celebrities and fashion figures moved between both sides without problems. Meghan was even seen being greeted by Wintour at a Balenciaga show, which looked professional and polite on the surface. But according to this analysis, that moment did not mean there was a deep personal relationship behind the scenes. The real change reportedly happened when Meghan became more publicly linked with Enninful's side, instead of staying neutral between both editors. Later, things became more complicated after Enninful left Vogue, and Meghan reportedly lost that connection as well. The result, according to critics, has been several years of distance from the main Vogue network. People also point to missing Met Gala invitations over the past 6 years and ongoing difficulty in securing major ambassador roles with luxury brands like Chanel or Dior, where European royal figures already dominate those spaces. Now, the Daily Mail report by Alison Boshoff has brought new attention to how the Sussex business operation is working behind the scenes. In response, People magazine published a feature presenting the As Ever brand as being led by a team of young women working together on the launch.
Not selling out of its Mother's Day collection, which is limited edition. We have some desperate, weird chicken coop video of Meghan Markle going, well, this is the guy, the chocolatier, and look, we're feeding chickens. I'm like, how is that supposed to help you sell chocolate for Mother's Day? The answer is it doesn't. And Meghan needs to, I think, wake up to the fact that she is not a popular figure. And there's nothing really wrong with that in a way. I mean, if she was smart, she could own it and actually leverage it into greater success. But as ever, she is the architect of her own destruction. She is imploding as we speak because she wants something so desperately to be real, which is that this Hollywood thing that she has attempted to cultivate and chase for.
Britney's response to that description focused less on age or gender and more on experience and industry knowledge. The argument was simple. Young women can absolutely build successful companies, but experience still plays an important role when launching a high-profile brand under global attention. Critics have pointed to reported weaknesses in areas like food product branding, website handling, social media coordination, photo planning, and even keeping grammar consistent in promotional content. In luxury branding, small mistakes are noticed very quickly, and online audiences are fast to point out anything that looks rushed or not polished. One of the biggest problems critics keep mentioning about the As Ever brand is something very basic. Even the brand name has reportedly appeared in different ways across Meghan's own social media posts. Sometimes it is written as Ever with a capital A and small e, and other times both letters are capitalized. For a brand trying to look premium and polished, people expect these details to be fixed from the beginning. Observers say these mistakes are not just small accidents. They believe they show a bigger problem in how things are managed behind the scenes. In most well-run brands, every post, email, and image is carefully checked before being posted publicly. Big companies usually have several people reviewing branding, grammar, formatting, and design. When obvious mistakes still appear online, critics say it usually means the checking system is weak or not well organized. Britney's analysis goes further and suggests the deeper issue may be related to the type of team Meghan has built around herself. According to that view, strong businesses need experienced staff who are willing to correct mistakes, give honest feedback, and warn when something is not working. Every strong brand needs people who can clearly say, "This does not work," before it goes public. Critics argue that Meghan has often surrounded herself with people who are less likely to challenge decisions directly, and they believe the current problems in product launches reflect that pattern. The Mother's Day chocolate collection became a clear example that gained a lot of attention online. Serena Williams helped promote the chocolates in an unboxing video that some viewers saw as playful, while others thought it looked a bit awkward. Once the products were shown on camera, social media quickly began debating the presentation. Some people said the chocolates did not look very fresh or visually impressive for a luxury product with a high price. The packaging also received criticism from online users who felt it looked too simple compared to other premium chocolate brands with similar prices. With boxes reportedly selling between around $58 and $64, many people expected a more luxurious design and stronger presentation. The limited edition idea also caused discussion because reports said the products did not fully sell out despite being marketed as exclusive.
Thing in the People articles that it talked about, and I highlighted how when it came to Meghan's business, it said it was pretty much all being run by young women. I was like, yeah, I can see that. I can see it's being run by young women because it's being run badly. And that's not that young women can't run things well. It's just that experience oftentimes follows success. Not all the time. But if you have a bunch of inexperienced young women running this thing who have never run a business, never run a company, never gotten it off the ground, don't know anything about food products, like the list goes on, don't know about website management, social media strategies, photography, all the issues I've seen, grammar. Like, again, we're still being inconsistent about whether or not we're capitalizing the E and as ever. That should be number one thing you should get right is how you spell your.
The candle collection also brought another wave of online attention. Candles linked to Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet were reportedly priced around $64 each and made in Taiwan. Early product listings included references to royal titles, but people noticed that those title mentions were quietly removed shortly after launch. This sudden change created more discussion because critics connected it to long-running debates about using royal connections in commercial products after the Sandringham Agreement. These quick edits became another moment that online audiences closely analyzed. The chicken coop video Meghan shared during the Mother's Day chocolate launch also created new criticism because many viewers felt the branding message was unclear. In the video, Meghan was seen feeding chickens on her property while a chocolatier was also present to help promote the chocolate line. The idea may have been meant to feel personal and natural, but critics quickly questioned how chickens and luxury chocolates fit together in one marketing message. According to branding analysts, the issue is not the chickens themselves. The real issue is the mismatch of audience. Chicken coop content usually attracts people interested in farming, homesteading, or rural lifestyle content. Luxury Mother's Day chocolates, however, target a completely different audience that expects premium gifting, elegant design, and refined branding. When both ideas are mixed in one campaign, critics say it weakens the identity of the product instead of making it stronger. For a new consumer brand, consistency is very important. Each product launch normally needs visuals, storytelling, and marketing that follow one clear direction. Analysts say the Sussex content strategy often mixes very different themes together, which confuses audiences instead of building a clear brand image. When branding feels unclear, it becomes harder to turn online attention into real sales. At the same time, People magazine released a feature showing a more positive picture of Harry and Meghan's business and personal life. The article described them as emotionally close, working as a team, and building a stable lifestyle and business plan together. It presented an image of teamwork, balance, and long-term success behind the scenes. But during the same week, the Alison Boshoff report in the Daily Mail showed a very different story. That report described alleged tension, strained relationships, business struggles, and difficulties inside the Sussex operation. It also claimed there were ongoing problems maintaining connections with powerful figures who could support them in media and business circles. Because both stories came out close together, many readers started comparing them. Online reactions showed that some people saw the People magazine feature as controlled public relations, while others saw the Daily Mail report as closer to what may be happening behind the scenes. Britain's main argument is that public relations can smooth things over for a while. But when audiences start noticing repeated differences, the polished image becomes harder to maintain. The gap between the two media narratives around Harry and Meghan has grown so wide that people are clearly noticing the contradictions. One version shows success, stability, and independence, while the other shows professional problems, reduced influence, and growing isolation. According to commentators like Jack Royston from Newsweek, the recent People magazine cover story did not achieve one of its main goals, which was to take attention away from King Charles's major state visit. Instead, the state visit dominated international coverage. The royal events, ceremonies, and official appearances received far more attention than the magazine feature. Brittany explained this using what she called a solar system comparison for monarchy and media influence. In that idea, the crown is like the sun, and royal figures gain attention based on how close they stay to that center of power and visibility. King Charles, as the monarch, is closest to the center. Queen Camilla is near him, while Prince William and Princess Catherine also hold a strong position close to the main focus of royal attention. The younger royal children are still part of that inner circle because of their future roles in the monarchy.
Smart, you kind of play both people. Not in a bad way, but like going, well, we're going to do this issue here, but let's keep chatting. Let's be positive. And again, Anna did greet Meghan at the Balenciaga show, but that's all part of the artifice of the entertainment industry. None of it's real. None of it's serious. They were just kind of chit-chatting with each other, and they were being like, I don't know exactly how you want to put it, but it wasn't really all that truthful, you could say. They're just there to make things look good, right? So Meghan pledged her allegiance to Anna full, ticked off Anna. Anna hates her. Meghan doesn't want to pay and never returns things. I think that's pretty key. I think Meghan is all about the freebies. She's always been about the freebies. Again, she was quite mad that the royal family.
Harry and Meghan, meanwhile, are described as being much farther away from that center after stepping back from royal duties. Brittany argued that this distance naturally affects how much public attention and institutional support they can receive over time. In this way of thinking, a People magazine feature simply cannot compete with a major royal state visit involving the monarch himself. Public attention still strongly favors the official royal institution because that is where the main symbolic power still sits. According to this view, celebrity-style media campaigns lose strength when they are placed next to events directly connected to the crown. The People article also strongly supported Harry and Meghan's decision to create a half-in, half-out approach after leaving royal duties. The piece presented them as independent people building their own path and not following traditional expectations, but Brittany's response focused more on the long-term results of that strategy instead of the positive branding language around it. 6 years later, critics argue that the expected big commercial success has not fully happened. Major fashion houses already have royal-linked ambassadors in place. Important Hollywood relationships are said to have become weaker over time. Even the Netflix partnership has faced constant public questions about its size, future, and success. According to this argument, the main problem is that the Sussexes stepped away from the royal system, but also did not fully secure a strong, stable place inside the commercial world they wanted to build on their own. Britain's view is that both the royal institution and elite business networks work through relationships, tradition, and long-term trust. By stepping away from both systems at the same time, Harry and Meghan may have gained freedom, but they also lost access to the networks that once supported their influence and market value. Critics say the result looks less like full independence and more like growing distance from the centers of power they once benefited from. The discussion then moved beyond the Sussex brand and into Harry's reported legal dispute connected to Centaurus. Dr. Sophie Chandauka is now reportedly involved in legal action through the London High Court. Brittany argues that this situation reflects a wider pattern connected to how Harry's break from major institutions has unfolded over time, with tensions becoming more public instead of staying private. Public disputes with large organizations can create long-term damage, not only for the individuals involved, but also for the organizations themselves. Brittany pointed to the Centaurus situation as an example, saying that highly public conflict can make sponsors and donors nervous about getting involved. According to reports around the controversy, some potential supporters may now question whether the organization can manage internal disagreements in a professional way, and that uncertainty can affect future fundraising and partnerships. The same kind of pattern has also been mentioned in other business relationships linked to Harry and Meghan. One example often discussed online involves Audi, where reports claimed a sponsorship ended after financial disagreements related to branding and appearance expectations. Whether every detail is fully accurate or not, critics say the main issue is perception.
I think the exit of Harry was dealt with well by Dr. Sophie and Centaurus. And I think it scared off any potential donors because they're looking at the whole mess going, that just doesn't look good. And people can argue with that. And people have loved the confrontation on social media. But guys, social media confrontations are not real life and don't play out that way. Part of the reason I think Centaurus is suing Harry is because
in business, Companies and sponsors constantly judge whether a partnership will bring stability, professionalism, and positive attention, or instead create ongoing controversy and uncertainty. Britain's broader point is that how someone leaves an institution is just as important as how they joined it. Even when a departure is difficult or unwanted, staying professional can protect future opportunities. Industries based on relationships tend to reward people who leave without publicly damaging connections. According to this argument, burning bridges may create dramatic headlines in the moment, but it can quietly close doors years later. Critics say this same idea also applies to Harry and Meghan's exit from the royal institution. Their departure in 2020 quickly turned into public interviews, documentaries, and a memoir that openly described private family tensions. The Oprah interview created worldwide headlines. The Netflix documentary series added more personal revelations. Harry's memoir, Spare, continued sharing private details about royal life and relationships. Each project brought huge attention and commercial success, but critics argue it also deepened the divide between the Sussexes and the monarchy. Over time, some royal commentators believe these repeated public disclosures damaged trust in a way that is very difficult to repair. Now, recent comments from Harry at the Kavli Security Forum, where he reportedly said he still sees himself as part of the royal family and continuing the work he was born into, are being seen by some observers as an attempt to reconnect with that identity. But according to Britain's analysis, the response from the royal institution suggests the relationship is still deeply strained. Critics point to reported tensions around invitations, public appearances, state events, and the visible distance between the Sussexes and senior royals during major occasions. In this view, the separation became so public and emotionally charged that rebuilding trust inside the institution is now extremely difficult. To explain the wider professional lesson, Brittany compared the situation to long careers in Hollywood. She used actor David Boreanaz as an example of someone who may not dominate headlines every year, but has maintained steady work for decades. From Buffy the Vampire Slayer to Angel, then Bones, and later SEAL Team, his career has lasted more than 20 years of continuous television work. According to this argument, the reason some entertainers last so long is not only talent, but also reliability, professionalism, and being easy to work with. In industries built on trust and relationships, those qualities can matter just as much as fame. Brittany's comparison also included the idea that long entertainment careers are built on more than talent alone. She pointed to actors like David Boreanaz, who is often described as consistent, punctual, and professional on set over many years. In Hollywood, that kind of reliability can quietly become one of the most valuable traits a person has. On the other side, the industry often discusses examples of talented performers whose personal or professional issues repeatedly disrupted projects and damaged working relationships. Brittany referenced names like Shia LaBeouf and Lindsay Lohan as examples where ability was widely recognized, but off-screen problems and reliability concerns made studios more cautious over time. The larger point is that talent alone is usually not enough to sustain a decades-long career in entertainment.
I think the exit of Harry was dealt with well by Dr. Sophie and Santabale. And I think it scared off any potential donors because they're looking at the whole mess going, that just doesn't look good. And people can argue with that. And people have loved the confrontation on social media. But guys, social media confrontations are not real life and don't play out that way. Part of the reason I think Santabale is suing Harry is because things didn't work out the way they thought it would.
According to this view, the industry rewards people who combine skill with professionalism, consistency, and stable working relationships. Brittany argued that Harry and Meghan face challenges on both sides because critics question not only their output, but also the stability of their professional relationships behind the scenes. Reports about high staff turnover, public disagreements with business partners, and negative stories from former employees have all contributed to a growing perception problem around the Sussex brand. Brittany says Hollywood pays close attention to these patterns. Studios, investors, and executives often prefer low-risk partnerships, especially when large money and reputation are involved. According to this analysis, repeated headlines about conflict or instability can slowly reduce opportunities, even when public attention remains high. Another key point came from the recent People magazine description of as ever being in a test and learn phase more than a year after launch. In business terms, test and learn usually means a company is still experimenting with products, branding, pricing, and audience response to figure out what works. That makes sense early on for a startup. But critics argue that after more than a year, multiple launches, and heavy publicity, continuing to use that phrase raises questions about whether the brand has found a stable direction or strong momentum. According to Britain's interpretation, it now sounds less like innovation and more like ongoing uncertainty being presented in a positive way. The latest reported strategy involving Meghan's fashion choices has also sparked online discussion. Reports suggest the Sussex website may eventually direct visitors toward clothing brands Meghan wears in public, with possible commission-based earnings from purchases. Affiliate-style fashion deals are common in influencer marketing, but critics argue this shows a continued search for stable income linked directly to Meghan's public image. According to Britney's analysis, this growing focus on new revenue ideas suggests concern that the As Ever brand may not yet be generating enough income to support the Sussex household's very high expenses. Critics who track the finances closely have broken down estimated costs connected to security, housing, staff, legal cases, and daily operations in California. One widely discussed estimate puts security costs at around $3 million per year, while legal expenses over time are believed to have reached tens of millions. On top of that, their Montecito home reportedly comes with high mortgage costs, large property taxes, and significant upkeep expenses. When staffing, travel, and business operations are added, observers say the total yearly cost becomes extremely high very quickly. Some commentators estimate the household may need several $1,000,000 every year just to maintain its current structure before taxes and investments. Critics argue the challenge now is the changing income situation. The Spotify deal ended. Some speaking and corporate opportunities appear to have slowed. And As Ever is still seen by analysts as an early-stage brand rather than a mature, high-profit business. According to this line of thinking, savings and past deals can only support a lifestyle for so long if income continues to fall short of spending. Some financial commentators say the Sussex household is now at a point where new and stable income streams are becoming more important for long-term financial balance.
Attempted to insert herself into a high fashion narrative at the Balenciaga show. Obviously, the designer let it slip. Or again, I feel like there's a lot of, like we saw with Serena Williams, a lot of backhanded compliments or backhandedness towards Meghan. And he's like, well, she invited herself. So I said, sure. And so for a self-confessed fashionista like Meghan, becoming an ambassador for Chanel, Dior, or another major fashion house would be a dream come true and a wonderful stream of revenue, which she won't get. Because guess what? Chanel, their royal fashion ambassador, is Grace Kelly's granddaughter, Charlotte Katsiragi. Her mother was incredibly close to Karl Lagerfeld and was actually mentioned in his will. And Karl was apparently one of the first people to meet Caroline's children.
Ferguson have started appearing more often in royal commentary. Britney and others argue there is a structural similarity, maintaining a very high-profile lifestyle after stepping away from strong institutional financial support. Sarah Ferguson, in particular, has faced years of financial scrutiny, business difficulties, and reliance on outside partnerships to maintain her lifestyle after separating from the core royal system. Critics believe Harry and Meghan may now be entering a similar pattern. The idea is simple. Once institutional support becomes weaker, the need for new income becomes stronger. That pressure can lead to commercial decisions or branding deals that attract backlash, weaken credibility, or fail to meet expectations. When public confidence drops, it becomes harder to earn money from the brand, which creates even more pressure to find new opportunities. Britney's overall point is that this cycle can become difficult to escape once reputation concerns, financial pressure, and unstable business results start feeding into each other. Critics now say Harry and Meghan have spent 6 years trying to operate in a half-in, half-out position, but the outcome increasingly resembles long-term struggles seen with figures like Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson. According to this view, that raises serious questions about whether the original strategy was ever fully stable in the long run. Britney's final argument is that the options left for the Sussex household are becoming more limited, not impossible, but narrower than before. The biggest change would require discipline and a completely clearer focus in business strategy. Instead of moving across television projects, podcasts, documentaries, lifestyle products, candles, fashion deals, food launches, and media appearances all at once, critics argue they would need to focus deeply on one clear direction and build it over time. Another key point is public image. Britney argues that constantly trying to fight negative perception has not helped and may be making things worse. Critics suggest Meghan could instead build a clearer identity and turn that into a stronger business position rather than trying to appeal to every audience at once. Some commentators like Celia Walden have also argued that stepping away from a grievance-focused public narrative could improve perception and reduce audience fatigue. At the operational level, Britney believes one of the biggest issues is team structure behind the scenes. Successful companies rely on experienced professionals who can challenge ideas, fix weak strategies, and prevent mistakes before they go public. Critics argue too many experienced staff have left the Sussex operation over time, creating instability and weakening decision-making. None of these changes are impossible, but according to this analysis, they would require accepting that past decisions helped create the current situation. Critics say continuing the same patterns while expecting different results only increases pressure as financial demands, public scrutiny, and business challenges continue to grow. Right now, observers believe the pattern is still continuing, the pressure is still rising, and the public is forming its own conclusions very clearly. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with anyone following the royal discussions. And leave your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Harry and Meghan can still turn things around, or has the situation already gone too far?